This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. So yesterday we are discussing about the constructors, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
I told you we'll be having so a small recap what we discussed yesterday. So we'll have generally two types of constructors. One is your zero parameter constructor and your parameterized constructor. And in zero parameterized constructor, this will be like a default, I can say, or like a compiler. So whenever in every class will have a your zero parameterized constructor. It means if you are not having, if your class is not having any constructor, your compiler is going to write a constructor for us. So, but if you have any constructor in your class, then your compiler will not write any constructor. And I am telling you when we are going to use the zero parameter and when we will be using the one parameter, right?
Yeah.
So can you tell me, Mike, when we will be using zero parameter? I think I told you in the last, but maybe clear or not. Can you tell me
Mm.
when we will use for zero parameter?
Yeah. Zero parameter. Yes. When you um what was zero param. Yeah, like when you basically when you create a project, you already have like a default parameter. The default one, which default one, and the default one is and then you can, and also and also it's calling this default parameter, and the default one is the zero one. Yeah, it's like this is the like compiler compiler automatic way to use it, and and also, and if you want, you can manually create also the zero parameter like by yourself, and then and then call it whenever you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. And fine. Uh, so this is the example that we have seen yesterday.
Yeah.
You see, and we are discuss. I think you got the clarity why it is getting called two times, right? Every time when you create
Yeah.
a constructor.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry, Suya. Did you share your screen or?
Oh, sorry. I think I'm not sharing it. I just
No problem. No.
can you able to see my screen now?
Yes. Yes. Now I can see it. Yes.
So if you see here, so generally what is when we use constructor is, so whenever I'm creating an object, I just want to give some value to the instance variables. So I'll be going for a constructor. For example, if I don't given any value here, if I don't have any constructor, and if I'm not trying to initialize that value, what happens if I'm trying to print that exe1 and exe2? So it is going to print both the times 0 because you are not given any initialization for that, right? So, but what I want while creating my object itself, I just want to give some value to that instance variable. Then I'll be writing it in a constructor. So as I said, when you do in a real-time application, so whenever you will be having a requirement, right? So when you create a constructor, what happens? It calls your so whenever you create an object with this constructor, what happens? It is going to call your constructor, and this will be the first statement which is going to be executed in your program. And whatever the functionalities that you want, for example, you want to initialize some values, or you want to call some DB connection. So whatever the important things that you want, you can able to do it. And your constructor will be executed only once for one object. So for example, this is the only one object I created. This will be executed for this object only one time, and for this object it will be going to execute it for one time, right? uh, Here what I'm giving the value as 3. So what happens when I print this? It's going to print me the 3 3. So it means when I'm using my zero parameterized constructor, so here what is happening, we are going to get this common value. Sorry. So when we are using this zero parameterized constructor, what happens for the two objects we are getting same value. So when you use zero parameter constructor, by this is nothing but whenever you want the same value to be given to the all the for all the objects that you create. So for example, you have an a variable. So this a variable will, I just want this a variable to be same for all the objects. Then I can declare that a variable inside the zero parameterized constructor. It means for now two objects the a value is same. For similarly, if I create one more object also, the a value will be the same, right? So again, it will be the 3, right? How it is like a static variable. It's like I'm just trying to compare you. So for example, when you declare some variable as static, that is common to all the objects. So similarly, when you use zero parameterized constructor, that value will be common to all the objects. So but for example, I have two objects here. So for this object I just want one a value and for this object I want the a value to be different. So for these two objects I want the variable a value to be different. So then I can go for parameterized constructor. The simple way that I do here is nothing but I'll be writing an int variable, int a, and while creating an object itself I'll pass the a. So for this object I'm passing a 2 value, for this object I'm passing 2 value. So it
Okay.
means, so this a value will be 3 for the first object, and for the second object the a value will be, sorry, for the first object the a value will be 2, and for the second object the a value will be 3. So here when I am using a parameterized constructor, the advantage is you're getting different values. Just a minute. The problem here is I have not assigned it to the instance variable. I'm just hard coding it with A, that's it.
I forgot what's this.
Okay, I will tell this, otherwise what we'll do is nothing but I. So this is used whenever my local variable name is and instance variable names are same. If I tell now, it will be a little confused, I'll tell you that.
Mm-mm.
So here, if I what I'm doing here, so before case I'm not assigned to an instance variable. So here I'm passing an I. So that I is nothing but your local value that I'm assigning it to the instance value. And here for the second object I'm passing 3. So that 3 comes over here. So that 3 will be assigned to your instance variable, right? So if I see, if I run this Java application, so if you see, you are getting something like 2 and 3, right? So that is the values that you have passed, right? So it means when I use parameterized constructor, the values will be unique, like a non-static. So I'm telling you, when I go for parameter, when I go for zero parameter. So when I'm using a zero parameter, the values will be unique. So when I use a parameter, sorry, when I use a zero parameter, the values will be same. So for the both the objects, the values will be same. So but when I use the parameter, the values will be different. So you can just see this example and give me a minute. So just see this example. I'm just posting it. If any doubts, let me know. Maybe the chat. I'll just get some water and come back.
Yeah, sure.
Just see this example.
Yeah, yes, I got it. So yeah.
You're telling something, Mike?
No, I mean I got your message.
Okay. Mike,
Yes,
are you
yes.
there? Or, are you
Yeah,
there?
yeah,
Or
I'm here. Yes.
okay, okay. It's like okay, fine. Uh, have you understand this example?
Yes. I think I got it.
So, so the concept is when I'm using, so the concept for when I'll go for constructor, right? So I told you, right? At the end, I'll tell you. So tomorrow, I'll tell you what is the purpose of constructor. The purpose of constructor is simple. So whenever you want, whenever you want to initialize some values or give some values to the your non-static variables, I'll be using a constructor. So for that, I can use zero parameter or I can use parameter. So when I'll use parameter, whenever I want the values to be unique for all the objects. So for example, I have 10 objects. For the 10 objects, I want different values. Then I'll be initializing that inside my one parameterized constructor. So, but when I want some value that is common to all the objects, that should be not common in the sense that should be same. So then I'll be using in the zero parameterized constructor. Before you see the a variable value, the a value is same for the both the objects. Now in this case, the a value is different for the both the objects, right?
Yes.
So you may have a doubt, right? I can just do initialization itself. So I can just do that initialization itself here itself. So assume that you don't have constructor, right? Assume there is a no concept of constructor. So I have an employee employee ID and string name I have. So here so I think this makes you more understanding of constructor. So whether the employee and the name of every object will be same, Mike? No, right?
You put okay, you declare a string variable as name.
Don't so I'll explain all that concept, but my question is, in organization, for every employee name and employee ID will be unique, right? It will not be same, right?
Yes.
So here assume that there is no constructor, right? So for I have two employees now. So for that two employees, so for that what two employees, what are the properties that employees are having? Employees are having employee name and employee IDs, right? So these are nothing but the instance variables. It means for every object you have a unique employee ID and unique name. So in this case, if I want to give the value to an employee ID and name, so how can I give that?
Yeah, you can just assign, right? Assign when you declare a variable, you can assign a value to it.
So for example, you are telling that I have to do like this.
You can assign here. Yeah, for example.
And
name like
batch. So
yeah, for example, yes.
so if I assign here and if I run this program, so what is my output? If I'm calling emp1.display and emp2.display. So emp1.display means it is going to call the display method present in the employee one, right?
Yeah.
emp2.display means what it is going to call? It is going to call the employee method which is present in the display method which is present in the second employee, right? So can you tell me what is my output now if I run this program?
Yeah, the output should be one larger.
But when you take an organization, whether a second employee will have the same name and same ID? No, right?
No.
So what I need, I want this employee ID and name should be unique for the second object, right? So then how can I assign? So you understood my concept, right? If I run this, what happens? It will print what you said.
It should be
one Raj.
Yes, it should be one Raj.
So when you have it, so in organization for the second employee also, you will not have same ID. So for the second employee, I want ID of 2 and name should be different. So then how can I assign? If I assign it globally, what happens? For every object, it is going to take the same name. So by this declaring that variables here is mistake. It's wrong, right? it is mistake. I should not be doing here. So then here I can do.
You declare in the method.
In a method.
Mm.
In a method, what I'll do? emp1, emp id. I'm not trying to confuse you. I'm just trying to make you understand. emp id equals to 1. So it is same like declaring there, right? There is no difference.
Yeah.
So for this also, when I run this, so it will be same name, right? Raj or something, whatever the name I'll give. So the same name will be there here also for the both objects. If I run also, the output will be the same. There will be no difference in it. One Raj.
So, then we can use the constructor.
Yes, that's the purpose of
use the constructor to use the parameter constructor to assign a number. Yeah.
So I'm making you to understand what is the advantage of parameterized constructor. So otherwise, if I don't have a constructor, what I need to do after creating an object, I need to write it manually. Employee.id equals to 1. So for this emp1.id. So for empid even emp1.empid. It means if the employee one object, I'm giving the ID. For this is nothing but one emp dot name equals to, in the employee object, I'm giving the name equals to something like Rahul or Raj. So similarly, I need to do it for employee 2. How I'll do? emp 2 dot id emp2 dot empid equals to something like emp2 dot name. So here what is happening, the disadvantage is, so every time you are just declaring it like this. So when you declare it like this, so it is like a burden for the developer, right? So if for example you in the, so it is going to print correctly, like one that thing, so it's going to print it. You understood, right, what I'm trying to do?
Yes, yes.
I'm bringing this value for this. So, but the disadvantage is nothing but assume that your employee is having 10 fields, like address he has pin code, like lot of phone number, every field he has. So then how you need to write? You need to write it for emp1 name, emp. So it's very difficult, right? So you need to create the object and you need to do. So that's the reason you can do these things inside the constructor. So parameterized constructor. If you do it in a zero parameterized constructor, it will be again same, right? So for example, company ID that I want unique, that I can do it in zero parameterized constructor. Now if I run, I'll get the proper output. So, but there is a disadvantage. So why that is one Raj, because when I call display method, I'm writing it here, right? So that's the reason it is again coming. So you can achieve that your requirement, but it is very difficult. For example, if you have 10 fields, you need to write them. So instead of that, you just do this thing in a constructor. How you do it in a parameterized constructor? I'll be writing a parameterized constructor. Whenever I just create an object, this is going to get called. So this ID and name, what I'm pass, instead of declaring emp1.id, emp1.name, I'll pass that as a parameters when I'm creating an object. 1.Raj. So what I do, these are the variables that I'll be passing in a constructor and that I'm going to hold it. So what I have to hold here, I need to write int id, comma, string, some num. Num is nothing but your name. So what I need to do, emp id equals to id and name equals to num. So now you are assigning, so this is nothing but my, so it is not required you to write over here. So similarly for the second object also 2 comma some. Now you understood the main purpose of the constructor. So while creating
Yes,
the
yes.
so this ID is nothing but my local variable. This name is nothing but, as I tell you, num is nothing but my local variable. This local variable value, what I'm giving it to the instance variable. What is my instance variable? This emp ID. If you see, they are blue color and this is in light color. So this local value, I'm giving it to the instance, right? Similarly, num is a local value that I'm giving it to the instance. And when after giving it, what I'm doing, I'm just printing the display, emp1.display and emp2.display. If I run this, it will be the same. So that is the main advantage of your constructors. So I just want to tell you this because at the end of explaining the constructor. So before writing this, it may confuse you, right? So that's the reason I'm not told. So it's like you just, what I'll do is nothing but I am not maybe trying to do the notes. So whatever the program that I've done it, so you just make that example and paste it somewhere in a saved way. I'm not saving these programs actually, Mike.
Okay, sure. Yes, I will save it. Yes.
So I'll take different classes, but what happens, I don't have the constant example. I don't have constant notes actually. Sometimes I'll do,
Yeah.
I'll just change it as the concept goes on. So I'll not maintain that actually. So you just have a proper note.
Sorry, one moment. I got a ring bell. I will get back.
No, yes, no issues, Mike. Take your time.
Hello?
Mike, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
No issues, no issues.
Okay. Yeah. I'm taking okay. I take a look at your the final example for. So you have ID name. Okay. Then ID to here, name to name. So then you put the employee 1, EM1 display, EM2, EM1 display. Okay, 1 Roger. Then you get 1 Roger. Okay. Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
You want me to debug and explain or fine?
No. It's fine. Yeah. I just reviewed the logic. Yes, it's good.
Oh, okay. So now you understood what is the purpose of constructor, right?
Yes.
So if I don't have, Manually, I need to write it emp1.id, emp2.id. So like that, I need to write. We have 10 fields. So, but what happens while creating an object itself, you can pass the 10 fields. So
Yeah, you
generally
can.
in
You can like assign different values.
yes, yes. So that's the reason I'm having my parameterized constructor. So in this example, we'll see. You asked me what is this, right? So I'm going to tell you what is that is.
Yeah,
So
this. I think you told me. I think I forgot. I
oh
think
yeah,
you explained. Yeah, I think you explained once.
yes, yes, but fine. I'm going to tell you again. So here, what is this ID? This is your local variable, right? Do you agree?
Yes, yeah,
This
ID.
is your
Yes,
local.
I agree. Yeah, local variable. Yes, and the name,
What,
name, not name also local variable.
what is this EMP ID?
Same ID is the global variable.
In C you say it as global. Now you in Java you say it as instance.
Yeah,
Right? It's also,
instance. Yeah. Mm.
this is also object level. So that's the reason you can see the difference, right? It is light color and it is in blue color. Right?
Yes,
So
it's a instance.
yes, instance variable. Assume that when my local variable name and the instance variable names are same. So for example, I am not taking it as ID, I'm taking it as EMP ID. Instead of num, I'm taking it as name. So now what happens here? I need to assign with that EMP ID, and here I need to assign it as num. So now this does not make any sense, right? So you are assigning the same value to same. You're not giving it an instance value. So if I run this program, can you tell me what is my output, Mike? So now if I'm running this program, can you tell me?
So it's a little bit confusing. Think. Let me see.
So what is the change I done? Before case, I'm
Yeah.
telling before case, this is ID. This is my num.
Mm,
Before case. I'm talking about before example.
mm,
So while creating an object, what I passed 1 comma Raj. So what happens? This ID will be 1 and this num will be Raj. So what is this num? For this num, this ID, where I have given this ID? I have given this ID to the EMP ID. What is that EMP ID? That is nothing but your instance variable, right? Similarly, I have a num, that is nothing but your name, right? So where that I have given again to that instance variable, right? So this is your before case. So
mm.
how can I do, there is now, this is nothing but my local variable and nothing but my instance variable. In this case, your local variable name as well as your instance variable names are different. So that is the reason you can able to do that very easily, right? But when your local variable name and your instance variable names are same, you cannot do that. So you understood this, right? If you are not clear with this, I'll debug and explain you. So
Yeah, yeah.
tell me,
I'm clear.
okay, are you sure, right? Because when you are
Yeah,
clear
yeah,
with, you
Mm.
can able to understand the other one very easy. So you find any darkness in the screen, or you are comfortable with the screen color?
Yeah, yeah. I'm comfortable with it.
Okay, you want some more brightness or something? I was in a dark night.
No, no, no. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay, I was in this night. So, but these are local variable name as well as instance variable names are different. To make a difference, I just write it as a num. And this is name. There is a E is a difference, and here ID is different from EMP. The names are different. So when your names are different, your compiler can able to easily identify okay, this is my local variable. The local variable value is getting assigned to an instance variable. Okay, this num is a local variable that's getting assigned to an instance variable. So that can make a difference. Your compiler can make the difference very easily. But assume that when your local variable name and your instance variables names are same, you cannot, your compiler cannot make a difference, right? So for what variable, what you are assigning, you cannot make any difference, right? So for example, emp id, I'm writing it as, so if I say my local variable and my instance variable names are same, so this is nothing but your local variable and your instance variable name is also emp id. So your local variable is name and your instance variable name is also name. So now in this case, your compiler cannot able to identify what is the local variable and what is the instance variable. What happens in this case? It is not getting assigned to the your instance variables. If you see, there is no assignment. The assignment has a no effect, because for example, if I say 3 equals to 3, there is no use, right? So if I say 2 equals to 2, that is not an assignment. The same case here. So it will be like 1 equals to 1, whatever the employee ID that you are passing, that is given to 1. So it is not going to assign it to the your instance variables.
It
So in the,
it
so in
doesn't
the,
make sense.
so in this case, if I run the program, what will be my output?
Oh, it will be I know it will be 0 none 0 none.
Yes, 0 null 0 null, because
Yeah, now I got it. Yeah.
there is no assignment,
That's true.
right?
Mm.
So here local value is not getting assigned to the instance variable. The initial value is obviously 0. But generally when you do a program, you'll not be taking care that the name should be different, right? So if you give an employee ID, that will be an employee ID with the local name is with the local name and instance name when you do a real-time application, right? So to make this differentiation, we use this keyword. This specifies that variable belongs to an object dot empid. So it means this empid belongs to an object. So now you see the color gets changed. So now the assignment is happening.
Okay, so this one is the object belongs this object. This is
This
the
belongs
blue
to
one
this.
is the object one,
Yes, yes. Blue one is an
and
object one. So
the
light one,
color, yeah, the
red,
light yellow, light
is a
yellow is
local
the
variable.
local variable,
Local.
right?
So now, yes, exactly, Mike. So here now there is no difference between your local variable and instance variable, right? So to make the difference, what you do, you write at this. So when I write at this, it is saying that this belongs to the object level. So now I want to say this dot name means this name is belongs to object level variable. That makes the assignment proper. This dot. So you can see now your local variable is get assigned to an instance variable. And now if I run the program, it will again will be one Raj, and whatever the before output will be yours. Now it will be the same. One Raj, two Rahul. Right?
Yes, yes.
So are you clear, Mike?
Yes, yes, yes. So this basically this is highlighting this object
Yes.
is it belongs to the object. We
Yes,
use
yes.
this
Yes, yes. So when I say this,
to highlight
yes,
it.
yes, belongs this, if I say this belongs to an object level. So
Object level, yes.
why I'm sharing this programs as soon as completed, because I'll be changing the things here itself. So it is not like creating many classes. I am trying to do all the changes here itself. So you just take it a backup.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think this will not be the it is after the session gets finishes. I think this whatever we chart, it will get lost, right?
Yeah, it's a good idea actually, Suya. Yes, because when I because if I review the core Java, because if I go through all the recording we have, it will take me a lot huge time. Yeah, but I can just review the code, and for me it will be faster.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
it is not required you to take all the content, right? For example, when I take for some classes, you may be clear, it obviously will be clear. So what example will help you to explain the content, everything, right?
Yes, yes, I agree. I agree.
So for every example, I'll just for every topic, most of what I'll do, I'll keep that posted in this chat itself. So as soon as I keep it, I think this will not be a permanent one, right? So you just keep this as a backup actually. Somewhere you just keep this, then it could be good.
Yeah.
So now you are clear with this. And what is this employee IDs, right? Have you saved somewhere, Mike?
Yes, yes, I already. But this one, I think. Sorry, not yet. I do right now. I did something wrong,
Yes, fine. No issue.
so now I will save it. Give me here. Yes, now I saved. Yeah. Okay.
In a class, I can have different constructors, right? So this is my two parameterized constructor.
Yeah, you can have a parameterized or zero parameter.
I can have 0 parameter and I can have even 1 parameter.
One parameter. Yes, you can. Yes, you
Any
can have one. You can have two. You can have zero.
Yes, yes. India. This is nothing but my 0 parameter, right? So I'm just writing inside 0 parameter, and here I'm writing system. Inside one enter. I can just write here inside 2 parameters. Inside parameter. Okay. So now if I want to call all these constructors, what I need to do, Mike? I need to call all these constructors. So in my class, as of now, I have 3 constructors. So if I want to call all these constructors, what generally I need to do? I need to create an object with every constructor, right? So if I create an object, one parameter gets called, right? So
Yeah. So basically, you need to create a 3 object.
to get called 3 constructors, right? So this is
Yeah.
the base. So, but what I want to do, so what will happen, it is going to call my 0 parameter. So if I do 1 parameter, it is going to call my 1 parameterized constructor.
Then
Okay.
you create A2 and A3.
So I can just pass 2 parameters, means is going to call 2 parameterized constructor A1, and I'm just taking that
A2. Yes, and A3.
A3. So now what will happen? It is going to call my all the constructors. So what will be the order of my output? Can you tell me, Mike? So how you create?
Yeah. Yeah, it will be 0 parameter and 2 parameter and oh no, 0, 1 and 2 inside the 2 parameter. Inside the
Yes,
0 parameter, inside the 1 parameter, and third line is inside the 2 parameter.
yes, it will be in the same order, right? As you came.
Yes, same order.
Inside 0, inside 1, inside 2, right? So, but I just don't want to create all the objects. So it's like increasing the heap area, right? So to execute to execute the constructor thing, so I don't want to create all of them. There is a requirement that I just want to create one object, but I just want to execute other constructors. You got my point? So
Yeah, I
generally,
got your point. I got your
I
point.
want
But
to create I want to create one object that is nothing but zero parameter. From this one object, I just want to execute the remaining constructors. So then I'll be using this with brackets. You understood what is this? So there are three things, that is two things, that is nothing but you have this. So when I'm going to use this, is when my local variable name and instance variable names as same. You have something keyword with this with bracket. So now you can able to tell me. So if I'll be creating one zero parameterized constructor. So obviously it's getting called the zero parameterized constructor. And inside this, I just want to call two parameterized constructor. Then I'll just write this comma 2 comma 3. So from this two parameterized constructor, I just want to call one parameterized constructor. Then I write this dot, I'll pass that one parameter. What is the one parameter I have int? I'll be passing that int. And remember that this should be the first statement. So now if I run this program, can you tell me what is the output, Mike? I'm just sharing even this.
But we need to call there. Oh, sorry. No. Sorry. I remember. Yeah, it's calling at the same time. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Okay. It's good. Yes. So it will be. It will be. Let me
I'll
see.
share you, then you can see that example.
Yeah. It will be. Let me see. This will be.
I just want the order of the output.
Or you want to?
First,
Yeah.
all the three constructors will be executed. So the main purpose of using this with brackets is nothing but I'm creating only one object with one zero parameter, and I'm going to execute all the remaining two constructors also.
But I think the order should be the same. What I thought, same as before.
So you're telling it will be like 0, 1, 2, 3.
Yes, I think it's the same because we didn't put the order. So in this case, it should be go from the. Oh no. Sorry. The order should be 2 because I didn't see the top code. It should be 2 parameter. 2 parameter. Can you go up again? You take 2. Oh, it's a little bit. It's not a match. So you give 2. So let's call 2.
It is not. You can see that even I've shared you, so that makes you can able to see.
It will be 2 parameter, 1 parameter, and you call this one. So this should be 1 call it. Oh, it's a little bit confused. Let me see. So you're calling from here. So I think anyway, I think it should be go from the top. The first one. So the first one, it should be calling the top one. And at the middle one, the second line.
So you whatever the concept that you have, based on that concept, just tell me the output, and we'll see that, and I'll explain my example. So whatever the concept that you have, just tell. So based on that concept, tell me the output.
Okay, I give you the output. So I got it. Okay, so
So
yes.
don't execute until the output.
Okay, okay. I think the output should be inside the two parameter. Inside the two parameter, inside the one parameter, and then inside the one parameter. I think.
2, 1,
So
1.
inside the two, inside the one, and inside the one.
Why inside 1 again? So now I just say that explanation.
Because here you are calling, because I think when you are calling the last constructor, because the third one will be called, but when it called, it should go through these three first, right? And this one is one parameter. So that's why I think it should, when the execute the list bracket 3, it will call, it should, I think it will call the inside the system out inside one parameter again. That's why. Yeah, but I maybe it's wrong. I know, like, but that's what I understood.
So what is your output?
My output is inside the two parameter, inside the one parameter, inside the one parameter.
Okay, so you're telling one parameter will come 2 times. Fine. So,
Yes, I think it will come to. Can you run? And I want to just to check.
so it's a wrong answer, Mike.
Okay.
So the correct answer will be it will go here. It will. So you just follow the flow, then you get that answer.
So 0, 1, 2. That's your answer.
The correct answer is 1, 2, 0.
Yeah. 1, 2, 0.
1, 2, 0. So I'll explain you. Then you only
Okay.
understand.
Okay.
So
1, 2, 0. Okay. I don't know.
So I have some M1 method. So there is some code here. System.out.println code of inside M1, and I am calling here M2 method, and there is some M2 method here, and here I have system.out.println. So the concept will never change for anything. Println inside, I am not writing everything properly, the syntax and everything. Inside M2. So similarly, I have three method. So I'm calling. So what if you see from M1 I'm calling M2, right? So from M2 I'm calling M3.
Yes.
Right? Similarly, you have an M3 method. And this is the declaration of my M3, and I'm just writing .out.println inside M3. I think I have another class, so just a minute. Inside M3. Right? So now when I execute this program, can you tell me? So for example, from main method, assume that I called M1 method, right? So from M1, I'm calling M2 method. So from M2, I'm calling M3 method, right? Can you tell me what is the output now in this case? Inside M1,
yeah. In this case, can you go up? Yeah, in this case, it should be inside the M3, inside the M3, and then inside the M3, and then inside the M2, inside the M1.
Yes.
4 should be 4, right?
Exactly. What you said is correct.
So this one is correct.
Why you are telling that? Because your main method called your M1 method, and from M1 what I'm calling M2, right?
Yes.
So from
Yes.
M2 what I'm calling M3. So from
And
M3
then
it will come
yeah.
M3 and it will
Yes.
execute.
And then
So
yes,
from
that's
where
true.
M3 is get called, it called from this place. And what is the
Yes.
remaining code? It will execute this code. And from where this M2 get called, it called from M1, right?
Yes. 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 Yeah. There should be four lines.
So it will be 3 lines inside M3, M2, M1. That's it, right? 4 lines. Where 4? Only 3.
Huh?
Where is the 4 lines?
M
Inside M3, inside M2, inside M1. Where the other
yeah,
line came?
first one is inside M1, right?
No, first one will be inside M3. Just a minute, Mike. I have another class actually. I'll just.
Okay, no problem. We will talk tomorrow. Okay, I will save. We will talk tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay, okay. I'll just check with the other person. I'll just give a minute actually. Fine.
Okay.
Hello, Mike.
Yes, yes.
He's a
So yeah,
Daniel.
actually, yeah, then that's fine. Yeah, because I want to like to debug to see, and then we can maybe I will clear by myself, and tomorrow I will tell you. We
Yes,
can
yes.
how
So we
is
can.
that?
Yes, yes. We'll just wind up the class. Fine.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, we will. Tomorrow is 11 also. We will
Yes,
discuss it.
yes,
Thank you, Daniel. Bye.
yes.